When Julian Thorne died, everyone expected a fierce battle over his inheritance, but no one anticipated that he would leave behind not just a fortune, but a riddle that seemed impossible to solve. Julian Thorne, known as both a genius and a mad genius in the business world, he built his fortune from nothing, ruthless, yet also supportive of extraordinary projects. When the news of his death came, the expected scenario was clear: a fierce legal battle among greedy relatives and fortune hunters. But I was wrong, terribly wrong. That sealed envelope on my desk, it was the beginning of everything. Thorne's will was examined by an army of lawyers, and there was one clause that left all of them speechless. The inheritance was tied to a series of riddles, and the one to solve these riddles, that would be me. Why me? The answer to that question was hidden within that envelope. The family council was in tense anticipation. The greed in their eyes seemed to weigh down the very air in the room. When Mr. Davies, Thorne's personal lawyer, placed that famous sealed envelope on the table, I felt everyone hold their breath. At that moment, I knew this wasn't just an ordinary inheritance case. This was Julian Thorne's final game, played even from beyond the grave. When they opened the envelope, there was no check, no deed, just a piece of paper. On it, a simple handwritten sketch and a single sentence: "The echoes of the past are hidden within the walls. Find where it began, there it ends." Those words began to reverberate in my mind. The past, the walls, the starting point. Where could it be? The echoes of the past are hidden within the walls. Find where it began, there it ends. This sentence gnawed at my brain for hours. From what I knew of Thorne's life, this led me directly to one place: the old, now derelict orphanage where he spent his childhood. The place where Thorne's life began. A place he never wanted to return to, a place he even avoided talking about. The orphanage. Julian Thorne's darkest and most formative years. He never returned after he left. Until now, the first step of the riddle was pulling me into that eerie past. Every detail, every word had been carefully chosen. And I knew that Thorne's game wasn't just about distributing an inheritance. This was his final masterpiece, and I had to solve it. It was as if he was challenging me. The road to the orphanage felt like a journey through time. At every turn, abandoned memories seemed to whisper. Julian Thorne's childhood memories. Who knew? Maybe the answer to the riddle was hidden in those dusty corridors. I had a strange feeling. It was as if Thorne was deliberately drawing me to these places. He wanted me to confront his own past, doing it through me. As I drove down this road, it was as if time itself had slowed down. The doors creaked open with the bitter sound of rusty hinges. The air smelled of years of dust and the sharp scent of mold. It was as if the building was exhaling its own secrets. The orphanage had been gnawed at by the cruel teeth of time. With every step, broken glass crunched underfoot, and the air smelled of mold and dust. This was Thorne's childhood prison. And now, I was here to find my clue. In every corner, a story seemed to be hidden. As I looked at the walls, it was as if I could hear the whispers of the past, the children's sobs, the teachers' stern voices. And then I saw it. In the corner, a drawing so faint it was almost imperceptible. A familiar symbol from Thorne's childhood. It was also the logo of Thorne's multi-billion-dollar company. At that moment, I knew this was the right place. Just below the symbol, there was a small metal box embedded in the wall. Opening the box wasn't difficult. Rust and years of grime had made the lock almost invisible. Inside, there was a crumpled, yellowed piece of paper. On it, again, was Thorne's handwriting. This time, it was a piece of poetry, or so I thought. Beneath the dark water, the deepest secrets lie. Whenever it surfaces, a star falls from the sky. Look in the eyes of that old friend for the glimmer of truth. This wasn't poetry. It was a riddle, and I knew where it would lead. Thorne's childhood friend, former partner, Robert Maxwell. They were once inseparable until Maxwell suddenly disappeared. No one ever found out why. Now I understood. Robert Maxwell was part of this riddle, and the phrase, beneath the dark water, that was a clue related to where Maxwell disappeared. I felt that this was not just about inheritance, but had a much deeper past. Robert Maxwell, Thorne's closest confidant, business partner, even like a brother, until that fateful day. Years ago, he mysteriously disappeared in a way that no one could understand. The police searched for months, but found no trace. The case remained an unsolved mystery for years. But now, Thorne's will was directing me straight to Maxwell. Beneath the dark water. This phrase immediately brought to mind the last place Maxwell was seen, Thorne's lakeside summer house. Thorne's will was not just a game of inheritance. This was Thorne confronting his past, perhaps settling his conscience. And my mission was to uncover all the layers of this reckoning. Every clue pulled me deeper. This was more than a case. It was the final act of Julian Thorne's life, and I was responsible for raising that curtain. The lakeside summer house hadn't changed much over the years. It still had that serene yet equally unsettling atmosphere. Robert Maxwell's last known location, beneath the dark water. This was a starting point for me. The surface of the lake seemed to hold countless secrets, and there it was, under the water, a small capsule made of stainless steel. It bore Thorne's company logo. This capsule wasn't just a clue, but also a time capsule of Thorne's and Maxwell's shared past. What I felt at that moment was not just the satisfaction of solving a riddle, but also the weight of understanding how two lives had been hidden behind a veil of secrecy. Julian Thorne's last will turned out to be far more than I had expected. This wasn't just an inheritance case. This was a dangerous mission that thrusted me into the midst of a global conspiracy and the fate of humanity. Thorne hadn't just entrusted me with his fortune. He had entrusted me with a secret that could change the world. Whether Robert Maxwell was still alive, I don't know. But one thing I do know is this. Some secrets, even from the grave, never truly let you go.